Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberker. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan arrived in Budapest on Sunday upon Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban's invite to attend the country's founding day. During his visit, Erdoğan separately met with his Hungarian counterpart Katalin Novak and Orban to discuss bilateral ties as well as regional and global developments. This is the first face-to-face meeting between the leaders since Erdoğan began his new term in May. The Turkish president was greeted to a warm welcome by Hungarians in Budapest, where he said the two countries share extensive relations based on their deep-rooted ties. Back in 2013, Budapest and Ankara established a high-level strategic cooperation council to raise their cooperation to a strategic partnership. Hungary's support for Turkey's EU membership process has improved bilateral ties even further. And in December, the two countries are set to celebrate the 100th anniversary of their diplomatic relations. On the sidelines of his visit, Erdoğan also met with the Emir of Qatar, Serbian president, and the Bosnian Serb leader. And to further discuss the relationship between Turkey and Hungary, joining me now from Budapest is Zoltan Egeresi. He is a research fellow at the University of Public Service. And from Ankara, Giray Sadik is the director of European Studies Research Center at Ankara Yıldırım Bayezid University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. So, Zoltan, what's the shape of the relationship between Turkey and Hungary and how they have evolved in the last decade?
So probably the most important to say about this topic that Hungary perceives Turkey as a strategic partner, which was reinforced during this recent visit by President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. And in many levels, many fields, Hungary believes Turkey is a really important partner, which stems from geopolitical necessities, historical and cultural background, and let's say daily foreign policy issues, which means that Hungary, for the upcoming years, will build or highly invest in the Turkish relationship in the field of security, economic cooperation, energy cooperation, and foreign policy cooperation.
So, Giray, why is Hungary important for Turkey and vice versa? And what are these new geopolitical necessities, as Zoltan mentioned?
Has always been an important partner for Turkey on many aspects bilaterally, ranging from energy cooperation to security cooperation and foreign policy related issues. Especially at multilateral level, Hungary is the only state that is a member of NATO, EU and Organization of Turkic States. In that respect, it has an important role for Turkey and for the region as well. That is why we can talk about deepening strategic partnership between the two countries.
So, Zoltan, how has Hungarian Prime Minister Orban's Eastern opening diplomatic strategy changed the country's foreign policy lately?
Yes, this Eastern opening was launched around a decade ago, and it aimed to, let's say, the balance the Hungarian foreign policy and especially the foreign trade and economic relationship. Because after joining the European Union in 2004, the Hungarian economic policy was basically based on Western relationship, and this government decided to diversify the connections. And what we can see during the last decade that in several parts of the world, Hungary managed to boost its economic relations, trade, and Turkey is a really important partner of this field, as well as other members of the Organization of Turkic States. So we can say that from this point of view, this endeavor was rather successful, and probably the Hungarian government will continue to invest in this cooperation.
So, Giray, Turkey and Hungary also have agreed on a deal which will allow Ankara to export natural gas to non-bordering European country for the first time. So how significant is this?
That is indeed very significant. From the earlier times, Hungary was already importing important share of its natural gas from Turk Stream. But now that is going to a level up, including the use of Turkish LNG infrastructure, energy cooperation. So that is bilaterally important for Turkey and Hungary. But now also that positions Hungary and Turkey in terms of two key players in European energy security, which has become ever more of critical importance after the war in Ukraine.
So the natural gas shipments, Sultan, from Turkey to Hungary are expected to start next year. How would that contribute to the country's energy security? Because in January, Turkey also signed an agreement with Bulgaria for the transmission of 1.5 billion cubic meters of natural gas a year. How would that add to the efforts to turn Turkey into a major energy hub?
I mean, these shipment agreements will, of course, contribute to the rising importance of Turkey, not just for Western markets, but let's say for Southeastern Europe. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that after launching or concluding this agreement with Bulgaria and Hungary, other Southeastern European states will be also interested in Turkey. So we can count that the Turkish relevance for gas supply will be augmented in the upcoming years. And concerning Hungary, I think that Hungary sees this first agreement as a kind of first step in order to boost economic relations, and I'm pretty sure that other agreements will be on the follow-up. Because if we look at the numbers, this agreement with Turkey will give Hungary around 300 million cubic meters, which is not that high proportion compared to the general Hungarian consumption. It's around 3-5%, which is not bad, let's say. The Hungarian foreign policy is doing enormous, tremendous efforts in order to diversify the Hungarian supply, and Turkey entered in this market, and probably in the upcoming years will contribute highly in this diversification efforts.
So, Giray, Azerbaijan will also deliver natural gas to Hungary this year. What does this tell us about the turnout of the organization of Turkic states? I mean, could Hungary, which is already an observer member, become a full member of the Council soon?
I think those are steps in the right direction. I agree with my colleague that these can be regarded as the beginning steps in the right direction of energy diversification and energy security for Turkey and Hungary, but also for the regions. And this is important to read this with the broader outlook. So in those meetings, not only Turkey and Hungary, but also Azerbaijani President Aliyev was also there, and we can read that in a right direction. Should Hungary decide that, I can see the already gaining momentum with Turkic states that it will be most welcomed to join as a full member, and that would add potential to the organization, but also in terms of energy security to Europe.
So, Zoltan, is Hungary drifting towards the eastern sphere of influence since the leaders from the EU and NATO, except for Turkey, were absent from the World Athletics Championships events?
I mean, this event and this meeting was rather based on the countries which cooperate closely with Hungary. However, of course, other countries in the upcoming years will contribute to Hungarian foreign diplomatic efforts. And I would say that these meetings were part of the Hungarian balancing and counterbalancing foreign policy endeavors, which started a couple of years ago. And the agreement signed and declaration heard 2 days ago, rather cherish the Hungarian foreign policy endeavors in order to create its own, I wouldn't say that's sphere of influence, but good, friendly relationship with the given country group. And here Hungary is using its geopolitical position, its membership in the EU and NATO, and also its emphasis in order to build the Hungarian foreign policy in connectivity.
So, Giray, Turkish President Erdogan has also met with leaders of several Central Asian countries, as well as his Serbian, Bosnian, and Qatari counterparts. So, are new relations and new alliances being formed with Qatar in Eastern Europe, as well as Central Asian states?
Those are important steps. I think in addition to bilateral negotiations at leaders level, it's important President Erdogan's meeting with other leaders that are important for energy security and interconnectivity on a broader sense. In that regard, I am on the same page with Zoltan when it comes to Turkish foreign policy, that Turkey also aims to have that kind of a central role, which is part of the geopolitical necessity to diversify not only energy resources but partners. And therefore, that meeting has a value in itself bilaterally for Hungary and Turkey, but also in light of a number of countries, other countries participated and the Leaders Summit. We can expect those Leaders Summits to grow in the forthcoming years.
So, Zoltan, we know Qatar is in talks with to supply gas to Hungary, starting, if I'm not mistaken, 2027. So how is Qatar expanding its scope in the global markets?
Due to the war in Ukraine and alteration in the global energy and especially gas market, Qatar found itself in a very comfortable position. And what we can see that European Union, various European Union member states showed their interest in signing a bunch of agreements with Qatar, and it will continue in the upcoming years, and Hungary is part of that. And by concluding this kind of agreements, Qatar managed to really increase its or energy relevance to the more developed world, and it will continue in the upcoming years. And during the last years, we could see that several actors in the Balkans, also like, for example, Serbia and other countries, also expressed their interest in the Qatar market. The only problem is that in order to fill this huge requirements or interest in the Western world, we have to wait a couple of years because Qatar needs even more infrastructure investment to supply these markets.
So, Turkey and Hungary remain the only NATO members not to have ratified Sweden's membership bid to join the NATO. Are both countries coordinating on this? And how would their possible ratification of Sweden's membership into NATO impact their ties with Russia?
This is indeed closely followed, especially by other fellow NATO members and Sweden. Recently, right after the meeting, the Hungarian foreign minister also alluded to the fact that both parliaments of Hungary and Turkey will take the issue in their autumn sessions, and that he noted, quote, "We will stay in touch in close coordination." So we can expect those countries to coordinate their policies. That is only a natural step. We don't need to look or to search for anything further into that. And this is also one of the steps that Turkey and Hungary can coordinate bilaterally, but also at multilateral platforms like NATO. And that is indicating that as a result of that coordination, we should expect some coordinated foreign policy moves vis-à-vis NATO as well, regarding Sweden and other issues.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.